Dear learners, in this lesson, we learn about fundamental rights and fundamental duties. As you know that rights are very necessary for the development of an individual. You must heard about different rights such as right to education and right to information. But before going ahead, it is necessary to know as to what is meant by rights. Many political thinkers feel that rights are the justified and valid claims of an individual. Suppose you have a book and some other girl takes it. Now, you can claim that book. Your claim is justified. So, you have a right on that. Essential for the development of an individual. So, you have a right on that book. It makes clear that the claims which are essential for the development of an individual and accepted and recognized by the society or state are rights. Let me tell you very briefly the objectives of this lesson, and the objectives are meaning of rights and duties and their need and importance in our day-to-day life, importance of fundamental rights given in the Constitution of India and analyze their exceptions and restrictions, comparison between fundamental rights and human rights, process of seeking justice through constitutional means in case of violation of fundamental rights, and the last objective is importance of fundamental duties and the need to perform them as a good and law abiding citizen of India. Now, rights only can be of many types. There can be social, political, economic and person rights. Rights are not the claims, but also the rules of interaction between people. For example, I have the right to life. It means no other person has the liberty to snatch my life. This rule of interaction makes my claim on life as my right. Every right comes with an obligation or duty. Rights become meaningless if duties are not performed. Rights are what we expect others to do for us, whereas duties are what we should do for others. As per the definition, rights are claims that are essential for the existence and development of the individuals. If this is accepted, then there can be a long list of rights. Some of the rights recognized and given by the state are treated as fundamental rights. Every living being needs some rights. Man, women, children and even animals have some rights, but the rights that are given by the Constitution of India are called fundamental rights. Constitution guarantees these rights, and secondly, these rights are justiciable, or you can say enforceable. Justiciable means that in case of violation and denial of such rights, a person can approach the court for the protection of the rights. In India, fundamental rights cannot be violated even by the government. If any agency of the government violates any fundamental rights or frames any new laws which curtails or encroaches upon the fundamental rights, then the Supreme Court can declare that right as null and void. The Constitution of India guarantees 6 fundamental rights to each and every citizen of India, and these rights are right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. These rights are universal in nature. The Constitution of India provides for some exceptions and restrictions. No rights can be limitless. Every right has its own limits. Let us come the right to equality. It means that law of the land shall be equal and same for the citizen of India irrespective of their caste, creed, sex, area, education or place of birth. We can understand that right to equality on 3 important points. Equality before law, it means that all citizens will be equal before the law. No person, howsoever rich or educated, can be above law. To make it more clear, consider one example. Suppose 2 different persons have committed the same crime, then both will be prosecuted in the court of law and shall get the same punishment without any discrimination. Secondly, no discrimination can be made any person or by any person, institution or court of law on the basis of the caste, creed, religion or place of birth. A special provision can be made by the government to protect the inherent of the children, women or the downtrodden. This type of discrimination is accepted to do the social justice. Equal opportunities to top all citizens in matter of public possible employment, state cannot discriminate in case of public employment. Every citizen should have equal opportunity, merit and qualification shall be essential basis for the employment, otherwise people have the desired and declared qualification can apply and seek the employment. Even here state makes a special provision for the reservation granted by the government for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward castes. Now, we will learn about the evolution of untouchability. In that, under article or under right to equality, the practice of untouchability in any form has been made punishable under the law. Of millions of people, or to be said, this provision is an effort to raise the state of millions of people who had been looked down upon and kept at a distance. Why should there be a gap between two individuals just on the basis of the birth or caste? Right to equality is to end this injustice and discrimination. Similarly, all the British titles like Sir, before it was like knighthood or Rai Bahadur, have been abolished, because these titles were given to create distinction of the artificial nature. Again, it is an effort to create equality. However, the President of India can confer awards for the meritorious service to the nation in different fields. There is difference between titles and awards. Titles were being given on the basis of loyalty and service to the British government, whereas their awards are given for service to the nation. Second fundamental rights is the right to freedom. Constitution of India grants this right to all the citizens of India, and these rights come under article 19 to 22. Under this right, 6 fundamental or 6 freedom have been granted, and these are freedom of speech and expression, freedom of assemble peacefully and without arms, freedom to form associations and unions, freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India, freedom to reside and settle in any parts of India, freedom to practice any professions or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. These freedoms are very essential for the success of democracy and to create an environment of equality. But again, reasonable restrictions have been allowed to states so that these freedoms should not be misused. Everyone is free to speak and express his or her opinion, but cannot cross the limit in the interest of the sovereignty, integrity and security of the India. Even one is not allowed to attack the dignity and respect of the others. Even the right to assemble peacefully and without arms may be restricted if government feels that the assembled crowd may get out of control and can be violated or violent, then this freedom may be curtailed. Similarly, right to form the unions and association may not be given if felt that it may lead to social disharmony or disorder. To be concise, these freedoms are helped to develop and feel self-respect and dignity. Many provisions of the Constitution are there to achieve this aim. Article 20 of the Constitution provides from the protection in respect of conviction or for offences. No one can be forced to give witness against his or her own self. No one can be prosecuted and punished more than once for the same offence. Article 20 provides that no one can be deprived of his or her own life or personal liberty except according to the established procedure of law. Article 22 provides that every person who is arrested should be given the cause for or of his or her arrest and the ground of the same. He or she should be allowed to get defended by the legal practitioner of his or her own choice. Now, right against exploitation. Right against exploitation starts from article 23 to 24. Article 23 and Article 24 of the Constitution provides protection against exploitation. Under these articles, traffic in human beings and begar and other forms of forced labor have been prohibited, and any breach of these provisions shall be a punishable offence. No child below the age of 14 can be employed in any factory, establishment, mine, or in any other hazardous employment. India is facing the problem of child labor, and this right intends to abolish the same. Now, right to freedom of religion. Article 25 to 28 of the Constitution provides full freedom of all the citizens to have faith in any religion and to worship the way they like. This freedom is available to foreigners also. This right declares India as a secular state, and the state has no religion of its own. All persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and the right to profess, practice and propagate religion freely. A state can impose restrictions on these rights on the grounds of public order, morality and health. Every religious group or any section thereof shall have the right A. to manage its own affairs, B. to own and acquire movable or immovable property, C. to administer such property as per the law. There is also no compulsion to pay any tax on the income, the proceeds of which are specifically used in payment of expenses incurred on the promotion or maintenance of any religion. One is free to attend any religious function, but no educational institution maintained by the state fund can give any religious instruction, and no person can be forced to attend any particular religious activities. Now, we learn about cultural and educational rights. As you know that rights are for development and to enhance the self-esteem of the individual. The Constitution makers were aware of the fact that we Indians take pride in our language and culture. India is very large and full of diversity. In a democracy, minorities cannot and should not be neglected, but given equal chance to progress and develop. Hence, the Constitution makers included cultural and educational rights as a fundamental rights. You may ask as to what is there in these rights. This right is meant to give protection of the language, script or culture of any minority group. No educational institution maintained by state fund can refuse admission to the children on the basis of caste, language or religion. This right ensures education for all, the aspirants on no discrimination. Secondly, this right gives right to all minorities to establish and administer their own educational institutions and give education in the language they want to promote. Government shall not discriminate while giving grant in aid to such institutions. The sixth right is the right to constitutional remedies, which is a guarantee to protect all other rights, as we all know that fundamental rights are justiciable. So, if any one of the fundamental rights is violated or denied, then the right to constitutional remedies comes to our help, and these rights provides legal remedies for the protection of fundamental rights. Under Article 32 of the Constitution, Supreme Court and High Court can issue writs to safeguards and protect the fundamental rights of the individual. You must be aware that for any offense or crime, we can start and complain with the subordinate courts, and afterwards can appeal to go to High Court and then to Supreme Court. But in case of denial or violation of fundamental rights, one can directly approach to the High Court or Supreme Court. This right has rightly been said as the heart and soul of the Constitution. In nut and shell, we can revise that our Constitution has given us 6 fundamental rights, that is right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, educational and cultural rights, and right to constitutional remedies. But in the recent years, some new rights have been added under these 6 rights. A new right to education has been added in the right to freedom. as per directive principles of state policy and also on the basis of long standing demand, the education for all the children in the age group of 16 to 14 years has been made free and compulsory. It means that every child between the age of 6 to 14 years can get admission in a school. No fee shall be charged and all the educational needs will be provided by the government. It intended or it indeed is a great step towards elimination of illiteracy. Now, it has become the right of every child to get free education. Every democratic country ensures some rights for the population to facilitate their well-being, security and development. Even United Nations Organization UNO has adopted several types of rights and enshrined those in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. These rights are for every human being. It means that the citizen of a country get rights as per provision of the constitution of the country, but human rights are for every human being at all the places. We can count some of these human rights: equality before law, freedom from discrimination, freedom of movement, right to life and personal security, freedom of thought, right to education, right to marriage and family, freedom of religion, right to peaceful assembly and freedom to participate in the cultural life of the community. If we look at these rights and compare with our fundamental rights, then we find that there is much common in both. Most of the human rights have found place in the fundamental rights. A few of the human rights have found place in the directive principles of the state policy. The Government of India has founded National Human Rights Commission in 1993 to guarantee that everyone in India also enjoy the human rights. So, dear learners, it is very correct that these rights are essential for the development and to give us the respect. But do you think that only rights can make a country peaceful and secure? I feel that right cannot be absolute. No right can cross the limits. We cannot enjoy our rights unless we allow others to enjoy their rights. In other words, it can be said that our rights end at where the rights of others start. So, every citizen should take care of the rights of the others. Every society expects its members to do something in return for every right. All the activities that are expected to the society and the government to enjoy the right are called duties. Rights and duties are the two sides of the same coin. Without duties, rights can lead to indiscipline and anarchy. If we have the right to speech, other has the right to peace and security. No one can should and disturb the neighbors without any logical reason. If we are to enjoy the rights of selves, we should respect and related rights of the others also. Some important and essential duties have been included in the Constitution of India, and these duties have been included in 1976 through the 42nd constitutional amendments. However, these duties are not justiciable and there is no punishment for non-performance of these duties, but these duties are very important and cannot be neglected. Let us see the fundamental duties as included in our Constitution. 1. To abide by the Constitution of India and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and national anthem. 2nd, they cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. 3. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. 4th one is to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. 5th one is to promote harmony and the spirit of brotherhood amongst all the people of India and to renounce the practice derogatory to the dignity of women. Another one is to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. 7th one is to protect and improve the natural environments including forests, lake, rivers and wildlife. 8th one is to develop the scientific temper, humanism and spirit of inquiry and reform. 9th one is to safeguard public property and not to use violence, and 10th one is to serve towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity. Under right to education, a new duty also been added which says a parent or a guardian has to provide opportunity to education to his or her child between the age of 6 to 14. So, learners, this duty expected to be performed by everyone should obey and practice the same or mentioned in the constitution. There are many duties which also are to be performed. It is our duty to follow rules of the state. It is required our duty to be kind, judicious and cooperation in our behavior. Although no punishment has been fixed for our performance of these duties, but still this cannot be neglected. In the end, we should understand that without performing duties, we cannot enjoy our rights. Every responsible and faithful citizen observes his or her duty and automatically gets the chance to enjoy his or her rights.
घर बैठे पाएं राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय शिक्षा संस्थान यानी NIOS में एडमिशन, वो भी एकदम आसान तरीके से, जिससे शिक्षार्थियों को होगी समय और धन दोनों की बचत। NIOS से शिक्षा कभी भी कहीं भी। शिक्षार्थियों, क्या आप जानते हैं NIOS में एडमिशन लेने का सरल और सुगम तरीका, जिससे शिक्षार्थियों को ऑनलाइन प्रवेश लेने में सहूलियत मिलती है। NIOS में प्रवेश की प्रक्रिया पूर्णतया ऑनलाइन है। शिक्षार्थी घर बैठे इंटरनेट द्वारा प्रवेश के लिए सबसे पहले NIOS की वेबसाइट www.nios.ac.in पर लॉगिन करें। अपना ईमेल आईडी और पासवर्ड डालकर अपना पंजीकरण करें। पंजीकरण के बाद लॉगिन करने पर ऑनलाइन प्रवेश हेतु आवेदन पत्र खुलेगा। आवेदन पत्र को निर्देशानुसार भरें और प्रिंट आउट लें। इस प्रिंट आउट पर अपनी फोटो संलग्न करें। ऑनलाइन प्रवेश के लिए शुल्क हेतु भुगतान के तरीके हैं: क्रेडिट कार्ड के द्वारा, डेबिट कार्ड के द्वारा, राष्ट्रीयकृत बैंक के ड्राफ्ट के माध्यम से, जो कि सचिव NIOS नई दिल्ली या नोएडा के पक्ष में देय हो। भरे हुए आवेदन पत्र के साथ साथ डिमांड ड्राफ्ट और संलग्न किए जाने वाले दस्तावेज हैं: जन्म रजिस्ट्रार के जिला कार्यालय से जारी जन्म प्रमाण पत्र की सत्यापित प्रति, जिसमें जन्म तिथि अंकित हो, पिछले विद्यालय से प्राप्त विद्यालय छोड़ने का प्रमाण पत्र, जिसमें आवेदक की जन्म तिथि लिखी हो। प्रवेश फॉर्म का प्रिंट आउट NIOS के संबद्ध क्षेत्रीय केंद्रों पर 10 दिनों में पहुंच जाना चाहिए, अन्यथा उचित दस्तावेज ना लगे होने पर आवेदन फॉर्म रद्द किया जा सकता है। प्रवेश प्रक्रिया की पुष्टि होने के बाद शिक्षार्थियों को परिचय पत्र व अध्ययन सामग्री डाक द्वारा तुरंत पहुंचाई जाती है। ऑनलाइन प्रवेश एक बहुत ही सुगम और सुविधाजनक प्रवेश प्रणाली है। ऑनलाइन ऑन टाइम फॉर सेफ एंड सिक्योर एडमिशन।
करने राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो, कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो, मित्रों हम उठे और जागे, मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने। राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर,
शिक्षा परीक्षा का बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर